Hey there YouTube, this is just a real quick buyer beware video. I recently bought this Boker Knives Todd Begg Kiridashi, or at least that's what I thought it was. When you buy stuff on eBay, which I often do, and I'm sure a lot of you do too, you need to be very careful on what you buy, and I've fallen into a couple of traps simply by making impromptu purchases that I wasn't careful enough. I didn't do the research that I should have done in order to make sure that the purchase that I made was a sound purchase and worth actually spending my money. But, we all make our mistakes, and at this point, I'm trying to use this as a lesson, both for myself and something that I can pass on to you guys so that you don't make the same mistake that I did. An untrained eye, or somebody who makes the same mistakes that I make, may have thought that this was actually an authentic knife. Now, I have to admit, at this point, I'm kind of confused. I don't really know if this is a knockoff Todd Begg Kiridashi, or if it's just a cheaper Boker Plus or Boker Tree, which I wouldn't think it would be Boker Tree, or some sort of a Boker knife that they put out. And there's limited resources out there. I'm having a hard time actually finding details on whether or not this knife was produced at one point in time or if it's a current model. It doesn't seem to be. I go on Boker's website and I can't find anything about it. I do see some Kiridashis listed, but none with this model. This appears to be the 608 model. And when you do your research and look up the 608 model, it appears as though that's the Todd Begg Kiridashi. Now, there's some significant differences between the model that I have and what I received and the Todd Begg Kiridashi. First off, I question, is this the Todd Begg Kiridashi? Is the Todd Begg Kiridashi the Boker 608 model? Or is this just simply called the Boker 608 model? I haven't really been able to figure this out. If you do some research online, you'll see multiple results. For example, you might pull up the Boker 608 and find that it's a Todd Begg Kiridashi made of 440C steel with a Kydex sheath. Or you might find that it's the Boker 608 model. It's called the 3-step snake with 5CR15 and a nylon sheath. Now that's confusing to me. I'm not sure which model is the actual accurate description, or if somehow there's two knives that have the same model number, or if the Todd Begg is the real one and the 3-step snake is a fake. Furthermore, if the 608 3-step snake is real, then there are significant differences from the one that's listed online with the one that I actually received. Let's first talk about what I do know. Now, the 3-step snake, or the 608, or whatever we're going to call it right now, that I received, came with this nylon sheath. Now, this does look very similar, and I believe identical to the one that's listed on all the online sources that I've seen. But where the difference actually is not in the sheath, but in the blade. Now, some of the things that I've noticed, and I'll try to give you some close details and close examples, is first in the blade. Now, this appears to have almost a black wash finish on the actual cutting edge. Now, unlike the Todd Begg, so the Todd Begg is a chisel ground blade, and it only has a ground blade on one side, not on both. So that's the first thing that tipped me off to this not being the actual Todd Begg model. It's the chisel grind. The second thing I found is that the hole pattern varies on most of the models that you see online. They alternate between big and small circles. The one that I received is actually all reasonably large circles. And even at that, the spacing is not consistent if you look, some of the spaces are larger than the others. That one, for example, that's a pretty small space. It's a little bigger right there. That's a small space right there. That space is a little bigger, so it's inconsistent. Also, I have this funny little dimple. I haven't seen that in any other models anywhere. I haven't seen it online, on YouTube. I haven't seen it on the website forums or anything. So this is the first time I've actually seen that dimple. The other thing that seems to be different is this choil right here. It's a very steep angle. It's almost a point. Now most of the knives that I've seen, most of these 608 models are the, Kiridashis that aren't the Todd Beggs, or I don't know what you call them. But anyway, the ones that I've seen, this is more rounded. And on mine, it's kind of a point. And finally, there's no jimping anywhere. And some of the ones that I've seen online seem to have jimping of some sort at some place or another. Mine has literally none. And on the reverse side, absolutely no marks at all. You can see little swirls from the milling. One of the sources that I often go to when I need to see a review that I can trust is the YouTube channel We All Juggle Knives. In this video, you can see a discussion that closely describes the details on the real Todd Begg Kiridashi. I strongly recommend, if you haven't seen it already, to check out We All Juggle Knives. So I don't know, guys. Leave your comments. If you have any understanding of any of this, certainly feel free to help me clarify the situation. I'm not the most experienced, but I know when things seem strange, and this is one of those circumstances. So if you have anything to add, I would love to hear what you have to say. I hope this helps other people make decisions. At least open your eyes to the fact that you need to be very careful in what you buy, because you might not necessarily know what you're getting until it's too late and you've already spent your money. Is this knife going to work fine? I bet you this thing's going to perform pretty well. Looks like it's really sharp. Feels pretty comfortable. It might be an enjoyable knife to own, but personally, I'd rather spend the money on the real deal. That's just how I am. I'd rather have something that's authentic than something fake. And I'm willing to pay a little bit more money for that. So I've seen these varying in price all over the place, generally around the $18 range. So for 18 bucks, it's probably pretty decent. But at the same time, what's it going to do? What kind of steel is it? How's it going to react? How are you going to sharpen it? Sometimes it's nice to know what materials you're working with so that you can make the appropriate choice when you go to sharpen, or if you need to treat the steel. Is this stainless? Maybe. Probably. I don't know. Guess we'll find out if this thing starts to rust and goes to hell, but in the meantime, it's just a guess. So anyway, thanks everybody. Hope that was helpful.